Alright, now we got just a few examples of what you would do if you had more than one step to do in an equation. Here is an example of a two-step equation. 3x minus 5 equals 4. Whenever you're doing a two-step equation, or multi-step equation for that purpose, I would always read the question as if everything's happening to the variable. So starting with the variable, what is happening? So looking at the variable x, start at the variable and just read what is happening. It is first being multiplied by 3, and then after that's done, you are subtracting 5. So in my head, I thought multiplied by 3 and then subtract by 5. Those are the two operations that are happening in that order to the x. So to undo those things, you need to think to take these steps and go the opposite direction, go backwards. So we're going to start at the negative 5. How do you undo negative 5? You add 5. So going back to your equation here, add 5 first to both sides, giving us 3x plus 0, so just 3x, equals 9. And then next, you need to go back to your thought process over here and think, okay, how do you undo the multiplication of 3? I need to then divide by 3. So going this way, starting at the variable, what happened to it? And then to undo those things, do it in reverse. So add 5 and then divide by 3. So we're going to go back to the equation here. Divide both sides by 3, giving us x equals 3 as our solution. You can double check your answer, which is encouraged, by plugging in that value to see if it works. 3 times 3 minus 5. Just to check if you do get 4. So here this is 9 minus 5. And you do get 4 equals 4. So this must be your solution. Let's go to another example. Let's see, 2x plus 8 equals 20. So again, start at the variable and ask yourself what is happening, in what order. So start from closest to furthest away. So with the x, the first thing I see that's happening is it's being multiplied by 2, and then you are adding 8 to it to get us to 20. So again, to solve this problem, we need to do these steps in the opposite order and undo them. So instead of multiplying by 2, we're going to get rid of that plus 8 first by subtracting 8. We're going to undo that. So subtract 8 to both sides, leaving you with 2x equals 12. And then undoing the multiplication of 2, we should divide by 2 to both sides, giving us x equals 6. Here's another example you may see when solving two-step equations where your variable is not in the front. You have 5 minus 4x equals 21. So if you get into that habit of thinking you always do the thing on the right first, that's not going to work in this case. So again, always think about what's happening to your x. What's happening to the x right now? Think of closest and then go further away. We are multiplying the x by a negative 4. If you look at it closely, that is true. You're multiplying it by a negative 4. And then if you look closely, this is a positive 5. So we're taking a negative 4 times x, and then you're adding 5 to it because that's a positive 5. Well, then you just ask yourself, how do you undo those things? Again, you're going to go in the opposite order. So we're going to deal with that plus 5 first. How do you undo a plus 5? We need to subtract 5 to both sides. That gets rid of the plus 5. We're left with a negative 4x equals 16. Going back to your thought process, how do you get rid of a multiplication of negative 4? We need to divide by negative 4. giving us x equals -4 as your solution. One more example. -7 minus 6k equals -43. Again, starting at k, what's happening to the k? K is being multiplied by a -6, and then we're adding, or just technically subtracting 7 to that whole side, because it's a -7. So to undo those things, again, one last time, you need to go in the, we're thought this way, and we need to undo this way. So we're going to start with that -7. To get rid of a -7, we need to add 7 to both sides. That will get rid of that -7. Here's where your adding and subtracting integers comes in handy, making sure that you understand how to do that. -6k is going to be equal to -43 plus 7. Well, -43 is way bigger than 7, so we know our answer is still going to stay negative, and we're going to dip down into the 30s when we add that 7. You're technically just finding the difference of those numbers and giving it the bigger numbers sign. In this case, 43 is bigger than 7, so it gets the negative sign. Going back to your thought process, multiplying by 6, how do you undo that? You need to divide by a -6. Leaving us with k, our variable, equals a +6. And there you have it. That is your lesson on two-step equations.